We're live. The Cinema 9 podcast is officially in session. We are on year number 2, working towards the second year of full programming. This is a show about film and movies. I am Michael Govier. I'm one of the 3 hosts, along with the other hosts. They are Travis Roy and Eric Brancham. I live in Livonia, Michigan. I won't give you my exact address, but I live in the Metro Detroit area. Travis, you also live in the Metro Detroit area, right on the border of Detroit. How does it feel?
Correct. I am in Hazel Park, Michigan. My social security number is 89. No.
Are you wearing a Jewish shirt there? What's going on there? You got some Hebrew in there?
No,
what is that lettering?
Japanese, my friend.
Shirt.
Wow.
That is Japanese. Tell you. That is not Hebrew.
Hebrew? Yeah, I'm going to go compare Hebrew and Japanese right now and see if they kind of look similar.
Have a good time. We're going to have a podcast.
Thank you.
I'm sporting my brother's shirt. My brother is a designer for Rocket League, the video game. So he gave us these shirts, and it's my Rocket League shirt.
Very nice. Judd deserves a round of applause for that.
I want to shout him out.
That's a big-time video game. That's one of the biggest video games ever.
He's a big-time guy.
He is.
That was Griffith, Indiana.
Do we concur? Do you agree with us, Eric, in Griffith, Indiana?
I haven't played a video game in literally like 4 years, and I used to play them every day. Like, what the fuck? Seriously.
It's just over.
It's over now. Like, I don't even really want to that much. It's just over.
Hey, Amanda Lupin's
here.
Hi,
Amanda.
Amanda, I want to say hello. And I conversed with you on Facebook last week. And it turns out she's a big fan of the show. So we thank you for your support, Amanda, so much. And we're going to probably have her on the First Date Pod maybe in a couple weeks or a month or so. She has a lot to offer. So, Amanda, thank you for your support of the show. Heartland, Victory. That's our Heartland battle cry. Huh.
Go Eagles.
Hey, Eagles. Hey, Eagles.
If only people could know the irony of us doing that when what we were really doing at the assemblies was just so the opposite. But you can't really retell that tale. At any rate, Eric, 4 years since a video game. That's shocking.
After my PlayStation 3 fell off like my cabinet and broke, it's been over. I can't purchase another system.
I'm with you, man. I play a game like this Marvel game on my phone. I have for a while.
You do. I was just going to say that.
I have for like a while. But other than phone games, I mean, I haven't owned a system since Nintendo 64.
Wow.
That was a while ago.
Yes. Shit, you not. Yeah, well, I take that back. I was gifted an Xbox One, and I plugged it in and like played like Arkham Asylum once and went, wow, that's cool. And then never played it again, not a single time.
Wow.
Literally just played it one time.
That makes you sound like you're so well off. You're not that well off where he could completely dismiss an Xbox One, but
it was just like gifted to me. It just fell into my lap. I'm like, I don't want this. I have no use for this thing. I didn't know what to do with it.
I understand. I respect you. Amanda, thanks for your support of the show. I hope you like video games, because she says you will play video games again when your kidlet is older, Eric. That's probably very true. When she gets into her prime, she'll start playing those games. In fact, you should start grooming her now to be a professional gamer. She could make millions of dollars.
Yeah, by like the time she grows up, there'll be like a game where like she creates a new dad, and like I have to just go somewhere else because there's like a virtual father there or something. Who the fuck knows?
Grooming, the new raising.
Yeah, grooming on PlayStation 20. It's called grooming.
Grooming's that's not a great word.
Grooming 20.
It has connotations. At any rate, this is Cinema 9 Podcast. Of course, Cinema9Pod at protonmail.com. Who's going to be the first one to send us an email in year 2? It's anybody's game right now.
Come on. Just don't even tempt them.
Is it Proton Mail? Do people have something against Proton Mail? I often wonder.
Oh, yeah. That. I have never heard of that outside of the context of this show in my entire life. You went with like fucking Bozoville nowhere hits.
Like Proton packs? Is this like Ghostbusters mail? Like, what is this?
No,
Proton torpedoes email?
I was trying to stay outside the system, Proton Mail bucking the system. I thought would be cool if people respect us more.
People don't trust this.
They hate the system. Yeah. Yes. Don't tread on me. Take my gun. Don't take my gun. Whatever.
Clearly. We saw that. Bessemer, Alabama proved that. So you're right. What a world we live in. Anyways, we're going to talk about our main event, Travis Roy's first selection of the new year. It's You're Next.
Our new podcast year, for the record.
Right,
yes, I did. I went with a horror movie because we hadn't done a horror movie in a while. And I knew I wanted to do a genre that we've kind of been avoiding.
I didn't know
was
we
it-
were avoiding it.
Well, I feel like we kind of have been. I mean, like you're not really a fan, and then like there's also the fact that like, I mean, there's plenty of horror that has a lot to offer to it, but I mean, slasher in particular, we've avoided probably because it has the least usually to assess, and that will be the case with Your Next to a degree. Absolutely. I mean, it's still a slasher flick. There's not a ton of meat on the bone, pun intended.
I see your point.
But it's good to mix it up every now and then. And again, like, how was I going to follow First Reformed? I mean, Space Jam. I don't know. I've never actually seen Space Jam, so
I have not either. I don't know why I would. I was already 16 when it came out.
Yeah.
So I was past the cartoon stage, and even though it had Michael Jordan in it, who gives a fuck?
It was that rare, like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. At the same time, you talk to someone like that seems your age, and they're like they love Space Jam and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And you're like, that's kid stuff. Pokemon.
Amateur
Pogs.
hour.
I think we just missed Pogs, or were we Pogs, or are we just
I
missing?
think we were Pogs. I don't know. We were definitely
Remember
Voltron.
Pogs?
Pogs are where you like flip the things by flipping up, pushing
Yeah,
on them.
that thing.
Yeah,
Magic
They had, like-
cards. People had
Yeah,
magic
Magic the
cards.
Gathering.
I feel like
Oh,
Magic was cooler than Pogs.
I don't know why we're talking about things that we didn't do.
Yeah, we didn't. I didn't do
Drugs.
Pogs or Magic. I bet one of you
Let's
guys
talk
played
about drugs.
Magic.
Oh no,
Oh,
I didn't play
drugs, yes.
Magic. I didn't play Magic. I played with
Yeah, I
drugs.
would've- if you had asked me, hey Mike, do you think I played Magic at least one time? One time, I would have said yeah, probably one time.
I never even sat down a single time to play it, and I did some nerdy shit.
Yeah.
I did some role playing games and like Dungeons and Dragons and Robotech and some other stuff, but I never dipped my toe into that pond.
Never touched a Pog. Never cast a spell.
The pond,
No.
Bog pond.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, well, we will get to your next as the main event of our Does It Hold Up, our signature segment, of course. But first, we got to get to quarantine viewing picks. Travis Roy, what do you want to recommend this week?
Oh man, I've watched so many movies. I'm on a sort of break because it's Ramadan, so I'm on a half
Oh,
break.
really? How much
Um,
longer till Ramadan ends?
It goes on for like 6 weeks roughly, so it's going
You
on.
get
till
6 weeks
mid-May.
off?
I got like a month of like halftime, and then I got a couple weeks off, and so I've got some time. But I don't really. But I work through the summer for the most part too. I don't really get a summer break as a teacher at the schools I work at. So it's it's tit for tat.
Would you rather have it all at once or like this?
I love my job and I'm happy to be working there. All right. I'm going to continue to talk about film. I lied last week, not so much to you guys, but to myself. I was like, I'm only going to see big movies in the theaters. And I got up the next morning and went and saw The Father, which, I sent you guys a meme that I made, and that's my review. Old Age is Hell, the movie. I mean, it's a well-made film, but man, it makes me want to die young.
Can I tell you something? I really did not investigate it at all, but I actually sat in my bed when I got that text that morning for a while. Well, it might have been afternoon, actually. Anyways, was it real? I was like, is this the real title? Is this a joke? I wasn't clear.
For clarity, I guess I might post it on the page, but I made a meme where I took the exact poster and like replaced the words "The Father" with "Old Age is Hell," the movie, and I sent that to the two of them.
With Anthony Hopkins on
and
the
like,
cover.
apparently
I'm
it confused Michael.
Yeah, I was like, that could. I didn't know for sure, but I was questioning things.
I also checked out Bill and Ted Face the Music finally. You know what? Fuck it, man. I was entertained.
Oh,
Yes!
I mean, it was.
Right?
What did you expect out of a 30-year-old? Like, did you expect it to be as good or better than Bogus Journey? Because I
Why
sure
not?
didn't. Why? Because
not?
it's been 30 fucking years. Because it's been
So
30
what?
years. So the magic's usually gone after 3 or 4. That's so what. So if you're gonna do it, the fact that they could like have anything that made me laugh more than once, entertained me, and emotionally affected me in some ways, it was stupid. It was fucking stupid. But it accomplished all those things, which isn't bad for a third in a series 30 years after the sequel.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Cue the Jack Nicholson gif from Anger Management. Absolutely. Fantastic.
I've been watching all these Friday the 13th movies, and I went and watched a bunch of Friday the 13th adjacent movies, not Jason movies, but adjacent movies.
AD.
Because I watched this movie from 2015 called The Final Girls, which is basically like it's like these girls, mostly girls, like go into it takes place now or 2015. They accidentally go into a movie that's like a Friday the 13th movie basically, and it would have been really cool if this had been picked up by the franchise, because it's like there's some knockoff Jason like in the movie instead, you know, but basically it's like Last Action Hero meets Pleasantville / New Nightmare, only with the Jason series. It was pretty cool. So I kind of like, let's see what else I can kind of do that's in the same territory. So I checked out Sleepaway Camp finally, that entertained me as hell. Entertaining as hell. It was so funny. Yeah, Eric's making the face. I'm worried about the girl that played the lead like into her adulthood. This was a young person playing this character. I'm genuinely worried that she may have been traumatized by the filming of this movie. It's a pretty fucking weird movie in so many ways. And I also watched The Burning from 1981, which if you ever wondered what Jason Alexander's head looked like with hair and what his ass looked like when he was about 20, he moons the camera. So you get some really early Jason Alexander. But it's like it's like an early Jason movie, or similar kind of stuff, but it's all based on like this actual urban myth that comes out of New York of Cropsey. So I watched this documentary from 2009 called Cropsey. Eric, you're nodding. Have you seen it? You're familiar?
Loved
Shaking
it.
your head, no.
Loved it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Loved
it was a really interesting documentary. Like it kind of twists and turns. You get pulled in thinking it's going to be like the Jason thing, and it's not quite that. But like, because I don't really do a lot of like true crime stuff, but it was a pretty interesting true crime documentary, and like how that weaves into urban myth and that kind of stuff. So I would recommend Cropsey. That was pretty cool.
Cropsey.
Cropsey. Yeah.
You'd really like a doc. Sorry, just a detour.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Killer Legends is a doc that's on Netflix. It touches on Cropsey and the whole Bellevue Hospital thing, but it also throws in a couple of like lesser known like urban legends about that sort of thing. I think you'd like it.
That's cool. Yeah, if you're not familiar with the Cropsey urban legend, I mean, it feeds into American Horror Story. It feeds into the Jason movies. It feeds into like a bunch of different horror cinema, which was kind of cool.
I have never heard of Cropsey.
I had never heard of it.
It makes me think of Mortal Kombat guy. Cropsey! That's exactly what I think. The guy who pops out of the corner.
Toasty.
Video games. Oh,
I checked out the cult classic The Warriors from 1979, which I'd never seen. I'd never seen it. I've been trying to check stuff. Yeah, I've never seen it. But, I've been trying to watch stuff I'd never seen.
Well done.
Fucking great.
This is awesome.
Some problematic stuff. Obviously, it's a 1979 film, but fuck me, dude. This is an entertaining film. I mean, just like I was on the edge of my seat in a few places. It was, not bad for something 41 years down the line.
You'll never get that first watch ever again.
No, yeah, and it was a cool first watch.
Ajax.
Eric, you recommended Unhinged on this show.
I did. I had a lot of fun with Unhinged.
I had a lot of fun with it also, man. Like on one hand, preposterous, and on the other hand, totally believable and terrifying. Like fun, terrifying.
Yeah. Brutal,
and nonstop. Like just like if you want like a quick, dirty hour and a half, bang, Unhinged. It was definitely worth seeing.
Nonstop. That was Chris Pine and Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not talking about. I've never seen that. I've never seen Mona Lisa from 1986, early Neil Jordan film. It was Academy Award nominated film, including Bob Hoskins. He lost to Paul Newman that year, but like this was like lauded with awards. This is the movie that Clark Peters was talking about recently. Clark Peters from The Wire and Defy Blood said that he played a pimp in a movie and he complained about it, and he wasn't given a work again in Hollywood for 10 years. And this was the movie. It was pretty interesting though. It basically was Crying Game with one less dick.
What was the title again?
It's called Mona Lisa. It's literally like the same plot as the Crying Game. A very similar plot to the Crying Game. Anyway.
Neil Jordan.
Okay, all right. Neil Jordan. I'm interested.
Yeah, you make one movie about African well, she's English. So you make one movie about a black prostitute, and I think okay, you make two movies like in a row, but almost. Well, he did High Spirits between, but I start to think you got something going on here, buddy. And I'm not judging, but like it's obvious or something.
No kink shaming.
That's why I'm not judging. I'm here for
exactly.
Kinky pinky.
All right, and to wrap it up, I got my two big recommendations. One big surprise, one that just floored me. The one that floored me was Swallow from 2020. It's on Showtime right now. This is an amazing film. It's about a newly pregnant woman in a kind of a constrictive life who develops pica, where you're compelled to like eat things like random like non-food items. And it's not a horror movie, but the face you're making, Mike, you will make that face through the movie. It's a disturbing movie. Like there is more than one scene that's like, fuck, that's hard to watch. But it was really brutally good. And I think one of the better movies I've seen from last year. I mean, like it's really, really good. So I'm going to strongly recommend Swallow.
And she kind of looks like Bryce Dallas Howard a little bit.
Yeah, and honestly, I could have seen her. I think her name's Haley Bennett. Is that?
Yep.
I could have seen her nominated for Best Actress for this. Honestly, I've not seen her in much, but like it's an incredible. I mean, it's really a hell of a performance. There's so many reasons I would recommend Swallow. Also, if you're interested in Denis Villeneuve's Dune, the cinematographer, this is what she did before that. This is her most recent work, Swallow, and it is gorgeous. This film is so gorgeous. I mean, you would not believe. I mean, it's gross, but like at the same time, it's just like beautifully shot. So
production design, gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm going to strongly recommend Swallow. And my last recommendation, which was a big surprise. And when you recommend something that was a surprise to me, maybe it won't be a surprise when you watch it. Now I'm going to raise your expectations. But do you remember hearing about a movie where it was Liam Neeson and yet another, like, hunt him down and kill him kind of movie where he was like a plow, like a snow plow guy? And I'm like, it was called Cold Pursuit. And I'm like, oh, fuck me. Like, at what point, like, do we just stop with Liam Neeson? And right? I watched this movie and it was fucking really, really good.
Oh, damn it.
I mean, notes of Fargo, and not just because of the cold. Like it's not like it's Neeson kicking ass, but he's ancient. Like he's barely. I mean, it's like the Limey kind of. It reminded me of the Limey because like he's kicking ass, but like it's mostly just like watch this old man storm around and just do whatever the fuck he wants because he's furious. But it was so funny, and not like in a I'm laughing at this movie kind of way. Like there is a sense of humor to this film that just if you got like it's a black comedy, really. I mean, it's a revenge movie / black comedy, and it's got some it's got some misfires. It's still got some misfires, but I'd recommend Cold Pursuit. It was pretty goddamn good.
Wow. Well, that is a shocker, Al. No doubt about it. Eric Brandstrom, what's cooking over in Griffith, Indiana?
You may not be able to tell by my face, but I've been suffering from the flu for the past 3 days, called into work sick past 2 days. As we sit here, my body is shaking and I feel like I'm going to throw up. But I did manage to squeeze in some fine entertainment.
What else are you going to do when you get sick? That's what
else
you
are you
do.
going to do? Seriously, I'm closed off in the basement so I don't get anyone sick. I'm on a doc kick, and HBO. Now that I have HBO, I mean, Mike, HBO documentaries, you scroll past, you have to consume these as much as you possible. I took a look at one that centers on Robert Mapplethorpe, the kind of the avant-garde photographer from the 60s.
Died of AIDS.
And it's an interesting watch.
Things also.
He did other things too. He also was a very big advocate for the AIDS movement still. So good for you, Robert.
Yeah, tremendous artist. Did pass away tragically, Mike, from AIDS. But his work definitely it's topical. Is this art? Is this not? Because we're dealing with straight, sadomasochistic images in some of his works, and others just straight gorgeous portraiture and another. So back in this time period when you had the Factory and Warhol and all of this, it was just no one was doing this sort of stuff. So I think he was a great artist, innovator, and just a beautiful soul. And a good film based on the artist.
I actually saw an exhibit of his at the, strangely enough, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No shit.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. He did a lot of stuff with a lot of rock stars type people, musicians. So
yeah, he was something. Rest in peace. So I'll Be Gone in the Dark is a 6-part documentary about the Golden State Killer. But it's more than that, because Michelle McNamara, Patton Oswalt's wife, God rest, just spent so many years of hers just working on this case and working it, doggedly pursuing this killer as just what do they call him? Kind of like an armchair.
He's more than a killer.
A particular name for him.
He's everything. He's a killer. He used to be the East Side Rapist. He was everything. It's so crazy. That's crazy.
Right. But the movie is it centers, and it's a great procedural about how they tried to attempt to catch this guy. No spoilers, but it's
Really,
also
really
a nice moving portrait about this woman's quest in her relationship with Patton, what that does to a family. I recommend it. It's a little lengthy. It's 6 parts at an hour each, but I recommend it on HBO. Okay, now for the fun stuff.
Oh boy.
I wasn't gonna lie, and I'm a man of my word. I checked in with Trading Places.
Hey.
This movie is fucking so weird. Like, what is this plot? When's the last time you guys saw this movie?
Last year.
2 years ago. Yeah, about a couple years ago.
Yeah, not that long.
This plot is ridiculous. Like these
Of course
two
it
old
is.
rich guys like make this bet that like these
Dollar
guys are like. I tell you this, I was sick as hell, and Dan Aykroyd had me chuckling so much that I was literally in pain and had to like stop the film like on several occasions. His delivery, he does not. I'm telling you, he doesn't get enough credit as a comedian. He's fucking so funny in this movie. The rest of
It's
it,
one of his better films.
I think it's maybe his best comedic performance. A lot of the movie for me
No
was just
way,
so
no way.
awkward and just so offbeat and weird. I couldn't get into it. It didn't really get going until like an hour in for me. And then there's like a half-hour chunk where I'm really digging how's Billy Ray gonna deal with being rich and how is he gonna do this? Then there's like a half hour like about this like fucking like gorilla. Like what is this? Gorilla having sex with Paul Gleason for like half hour?
Yeah.
It was
Good
the
time.
80s. Someone got on cocaine and had an
There
idea.
was so much coke on that set. Of course, John Landis. But
Orange
you know,
juice
a
stocks.
trip.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Orange juice
Orange
stocks.
juice stocks.
It was supposed to be a Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor movie.
Really? I
I'm
can
actually,
see
you know,
that.
as much as I love those guys and their movies, I kind of glad it went the way that it did.
It's
Yeah.
not what I expected
There's
at all.
still curiosity in me.
fucking
Would like
weird,
to see the other
of course.
ones. But yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Stupid
And
gorilla.
I know
They
what you
just
mean,
kept
though,
cutting
Eric.
to this
I know-
gorilla.
yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is this?
I know what you mean. It is when I watched it last time, which was about 2 years ago. There's a lot of space in that movie. Surprisingly, amount of like just not a lot going on, and then
Right
just
when I
like a
was
lot of
getting
looks.
into it, I thought they had so much potential to really make some comments on society and how we treat the poor, and then it just devolves into this fucking train ride with this dumbass gorilla. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
You
But-
needed to watch it as a kid.
You're a little hung up on the gorilla, I think.
Maybe.
And yeah,
I'll
nostalgia.
try to
helps,
watch
but
it as a
whatever.
kid.
Yeah,
I'll
go
check
back
back
and
in
watch
with
it when you're a child
And then
again.
go back in time and use that effort to watch Trading Places.
Good idea.
Finally, I told you guys, 1981. I'm blown away. All right, this is day one of the flu, and I'm sitting here like, look, this masterpiece. How did I not see this movie? I've been a Michael Mann fan for years.
Oh.
Thought I knew everything about the great writer director. Thief. My short-term memory is fucking god awful. I'm pretty sure Luke, maybe you, Trev, somebody
Yeah,
was
no,
just talking
I've
about
never seen it, but I've never
Travis
seen it. but
doesn't
Luke-
love Michael
Luke,
Mann. Remember that.
Luke has
We
talked it
talked
up
about
in the
this.
show. Yeah, Luke is
Yeah,
like
Luke is the
like
lover.
tying off and injecting Michael Mann.
Mhm.
It's so good.
I've
I'm
never
not
seen it.
talking. You remember when I was talking up Heaven's Gate? I will
Yes.
equally talk Thief up.
Oh
this
fuck! I
much.
guess I gotta watch
It's-
Thief now, or else you're never
It's-
gonna stop
do.
talking about it.
I'll never stop. It's
Wow.
so good. The script is, the direction from the get go is so. James Caan is so.
There's a gecko?
fucking awesome. No, Robert Prosky, James Belushi. It's like a perfect movie. It's like one of the best. In fact, Roger Ebert said it's probably the most intelligent thriller he had ever seen back in 1981 when you reviewed it. It's a complete
I thought you said
masterpiece.
91 then when you first started
81.
talking.
He
Yeah,
said 81.
81.
I was actually eyeing The Keep the other day. I've been meaning to watch
Yeah.
The Keep, which is what he did afterwards. So I was
Yeah.
maybe I'll pause that. And
Oh,
watch
Tuesday
The Keep
Weld's
instead.
in this, and Willie
Tuesday
Nelson.
World
huh?
is fucking
Willie
Willie
Nelson's
Nelson's
popping
fucking
in.
fantastic.
Willie
in it.
Nelson. Oh, and Jim Belushi,
Yeah.
my favorite
Jim
pot
Belushi.
grower.
You have to see it, man. Get back to me. I'm begging you. Please see
Well,
it.
if you got Travis over here and you got Luke over here, I'm probably in the middle of that, so I'm interested. I'm very much interested.
I don't dislike Michael Mann.
No, it's not true. You're right. That is true. That is
Heat is
true.
my favorite movie. Obviously I like Michael
On
Mann.
par with Heat.
We've heard this spiel
Disgusting
before.
shit.
Right. I'm not going to spiel it again. I'm just saying, don't put me in some anti-man camp.
No.
It's-
That's
it's
not
not
what it was.
anti-man.
I was just creating a spectrum so I could find
And,
myself in the spectrum.
I'm watching
a little more
it,
than
and
you,
I
want you to
a little
know
less
yourself.
than Luke. So yeah.
All right.
How am I not myself? He keeps going to this bar in the film. It turns out it takes place in Chicago. It's my favorite bar in Chicago.
That's
So,
awesome.
Fucking the Green Mill.
What, the
Lounge.
gin place? The gin mill?
It's like a jazz club, the Green Mill. I'm telling you, this is a masterpiece.
Green
It's
Mill,
just as
that's
good.
what it is.
It's just as good, if not better, than Heat. I said it.
Get the hell out of here, dude. Go away. Yeah, no one's gonna. It'd be impossible. That's
Now-
hyperbole. That's classic
just
Eric
said it.
Branstrom hyperbole right there.
You just made it so I'm not going to like this movie.
I
I
just
was
said
all
it.
ready to watch this movie and be like, "Oh, I'll give it a chance." And now you're going to make me compare it to Heat, and I'm going to be like, the whole time, I'm, "Fuck, this is
Just it makes Wayne Grove look like that gorilla in Trading Places. I just said it.
Yeah, I'll give you the pass. You've been sick, so maybe you're not thinking clearly.
Yeah, you got a fever on the
I'm
brain.
not well.
All right, Brant. That was great. Thanks, Eric. That was some very interesting movies you watch there. A lot of movies I can relate to. Travis always watches so many things I never see. So I'm like, oh man, I've never seen that. I've never seen that. I've never seen that. So it means I got to
You should
see a
watch
lot
more
of movies.
Yeah.
You're right. I should. For the movies I did watch this week, it was a little bit of a slower week. Been trying to work on some other things, and sometimes I found myself trying to turn off movies a little bit more recently because it just takes away. If I'm trying to get something else done, I'm just like I get engrossed in it. And this happened earlier in the week when I watched Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which I have seen before, and I just couldn't stop. I had to go to run errands and shit. I just couldn't leave the house. I couldn't pause it. I was like, I gotta pause this. I will never leave the house if I don't stop this film.
Why
It's
don't you
just.
just finish it later? I do that all the time.
I know I could. I actually was able to stop at about an hour and 10 minutes in and go to the activities and errands, finish those, and come back and watch the film. So you're right. But it was tough because I was just like, this Philip Seymour Hoffman and Ethan Hawke going head to head, and Philip Seymour Hoffman in this is very, very. I don't know. It's a little bit different. Like he's not fucking around in this movie. He's like real. He's a prick, but he's so fucked up. But he can't like that scene in the car. I don't know if you. I mean, you guys have both seen this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so powerful, man. It's really one of his better performances. I won't say it's the best, but it's really, really good. And Sidney Lumet, it was a great way to wrap up a career. I mean,
Yeah.
It was very low budget too. It's not like all the. It's one of those movies where there's like 5 intros. There's not a lot of money behind.
Yeah.
Brought to you
Slang.
by what? Yeah.
Right.
Brought to you by 5 different tiny companies. to
Gumball
make this movie.
Entertainment.
Yeah. It's really great though. If you've never seen Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, please watch it. Go find it somewhere. It'll definitely be worth your time. So if you love
If you want to watch,
Philip,
if you want to watch PSH fuck, that's a good way to do
That's
that too.
movie has
You ever-
that. Rather
If you ever thought to
quickly.
yourself, what's he look like when he's fucking? Well,
Yeah.
that's the movie. First,
What does he look like?
First
the quote on the
4
cover
seconds.
box?
If you want to know what Larry Fessenden looks like when he's fucking, you watch the first few minutes of your next. If you want to know
Right.
what PSH looks like when he's fucking, watch the first few minutes Before the Devil Knows You're Dead.
Yeah. Not only fucking, but like, do you ever want to see what he looks like fucking while looking at himself fucking? Yes, it's quite interesting. I watched a great comedy, underrated. I know our friend of the show, Aaron, would love it. Slam and Salmon, which is a Broken Lizard film. So funny. So funny. In fact, quick tribute here, because I downloaded a drop from that movie for another show, but I'll pop it in real quick. This makes me laugh every time.
Whatever, motherfucker!
I love it. Michael Clark Duncan is so funny in this movie. It's really good to see. I know he's dead, but I really love his comedic chops. I think they were really there. He does a great job in this movie because he's not the comedian so much as a straight guy, I guess, to the chaos, but he is funny. So I recommend this. Strongly recommend this. One of the better Broken Lizard films, actually. Top 3, I think. Beer Fest, Super Troopers. I think, top 3. I'll stay there. Yeah.
Each their own.
There's only 4, 5.
Club Dread good. Club
I
Dread
could-
was not good.
Yeah, Club Dread. I saw.
I
In
would go
theaters,
Club
we're
Dread
still let
over. I go Club Dread over Slam and Salmon myself.
Well, I know you would. Yeah.
Well, I know
because it's
you
got everything. It's got comedy and it's a horror flick, but it's also like an exploitation of it, right? So
Right.
I remember
Yeah,
seeing Club Dread in the theater
Been a
with,
while.
and I was like,
Yeah, I
I was
remember
so
that.
excited for it because that was the follow up
Yeah.
to Super
That
Troopers.
was
We can all agree
follow-up.
that it's all better than Super Troopers 2, though.
Didn't even bother.
Don't.
Well, I saw it in the theater. I'd have to do it another. When I actually saw it in the theater with Aaron and Jack, I was living with them in Maryland at the time, and I remember walking out that movie like, "Hey, I just went to see Super Troopers 2 with Aaron and his like 11-year-old son, and there was actual dicks in the movie." So I remember that. So I had like, it was weird, but it was kind of funny. It was kind of a funny movie. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, okay.
I don't know. Maybe I
I
need
don't
to
know,
go
man. You're
back and
talking
take
about
another.
dicks and 11-year-olds. Like, can we move on?
Oh, is that not? Well, no, it's no big deal. I realize I just said that on the air, but they don't know who I'm talking about because I didn't say his last name, so they'll never know. So,
I'm just gonna
Anyways.
sit here and not say anything until you're done, Mike.
Oh, God, I
okay, I can take it. I can take it.
A wise man, if you want to look wise, you don't talk much. You got to take a tip from Reverend Toller.
Yes, yes. You want to look intelligent? Shut up.
Shut up.
Oh, I watched Side Effects, Steven Soderbergh film.
Okay.
and I really love it. I saw it one time and I went back to check it out again. It's really, really good. I think you should all go check it out. Channing Tatum, Rooney Mara, Travis loves Rooney, and one of the last like legit performances from Catherine Zeta-Jones before she's, there's not much of her.
I think she's back on TV. I saw.
Is she?
Yeah, I saw a preview of something with her. She's on network again.
But we all agree it's been pretty light, like the last 10 years.
Light.
Yeah,
she played Olivia Havilland in the Betty and Joan feud story on FX. She was fucking great in it. She's a great actress, but she had her share of problems, and I support her.
Yeah,
I didn't know she had problems.
I didn't know she had problems.
Yeah, she's got some mental health problems, what I understand, allegedly.
Oh shit! Well, that's not
best
funny at all.
to her and Michael.
Yeah,
they are still together. I think.
Does anyone really believe that's a real marriage? It just doesn't seem like a real marriage to me, but who cares? And then I went back to.
I know.
I was staying in the aughts here. I went back into the aughts again, obviously with The Devil Knows You're Dead, Slam and Salmon. I fired up Beer Fest after Slam and Salmon. It's fucking hilarious. It's one of the best comedies I've ever seen. It never gets old. It's always, always funny. If you've never seen Beer Fest for some reason, please go watch it. Hilarious. So many jokes. Many jokes. Pot of Gold, yes. And I watched Role Models, which is another great comedy. And I actually thought about bringing it to the table. It would be kind of cool to do a David Wayne movie possibly, but then I was like, no, it doesn't need to be analyzed. It's really funny though. It might be one of the best comedies I've seen in the last 15 years, and I'm not kidding when I say that. It's so well written, and even the ad-lib stuff they do that's kept in the movie is so funny. Strongly recommend Role Models. Jane Lynch is hilarious in that movie as a recovering drug addict. You wouldn't think that's funny, but it's pretty damn funny. And finally, Smoking Aces. Now, I remember save this for last because I wanted to bring this up. I remember when this movie came out, I was really, really excited about it. They had so many people in this movie. You got Ryan Reynolds and Ray Liotta and Andy Garcia, and then all these other people who are not more well known now. Taraji P. Henson and Common. There's some rappers like Common and Alicia Keys who actually are pretty good, and Chris Pine. Chris Pine's in this. He plays one of these three Nazi brothers. It's Chris Pine. Chris Pine's a Nazi. I'm like, oh, okay. I forgot about this. Was right before he got the Star Trek role. So I remember when it came out, I was so excited. I went and saw it in the theater. I was pretty disappointed with it, and I really kind of dismissed it. But I watched it again now, and it does seem like they were trying to get to some like grand finale here that you're supposed to be wowed by, but it still doesn't work.
Yeah, it felt like a Snatch, but a misfire.
Yes. That's really well said, actually.
Like a dumber Ocean's 11.
Right, like they were going for like the big heist film with the big cast and all that.
Yeah, I didn't mention Jeremy Piven. Yeah, he's the main target, right? Yeah,
right. But yeah, it's just
Aces.
It was like it made me think of, remember that movie The Big Hit?
Yeah,
with Mark Wahlberg.
Big Hit.
Oh yeah.
Stuck
Like, yeah, it's like, oh, this could be good. No, this is not
Big Hit.
Oh wow, I forgot about The Big Hit.
Yeah, I think everyone forgot about The Big Hit.
Well, nobody talks about Smoking Aces, and if you look at the cast, it's like, wow, all these people are well known still, and Ryan Reynolds is a god now, and Joe Carnahan was coming off Narc, and I was really excited, but I'd like everyone else to maybe take a look at it. If you never saw it, give me your thoughts. Send it in at cinnamon9pod@protonmail.com. Let me know. Did you find something worth value in it? I mean, the action's really cool. It is cool to see Taraji. That was the first time I saw Taraji P. Henson, and she was like she's a badass in that film. So there are moments that you can take out of it, but overall, Lake Tahoe looks nice, I guess. Yeah, that's it. All right, so those are our quarantine viewing picks. It's been another fun week. We hope you enjoyed all of our selections, and we look forward to another day when we can talk about more viewing selections. But now it's time to get to the main event. Time to talk turkey. You're next. That's apostrophe. You are next. A 2011 film selected by Travis Roy. It is a, can I call it a slasher film, or is it just a scary movie, or what do we call it?
I mean, I would call it a slasher, a horror.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I didn't know if slashers meant like you had to kill people with a knife exclusively or a machete.
I mean, yeah, usually. Like I mean, usually there's one slasher, but we're still talking about people being stalked by someone in a mask. I mean, that's kind of a classic slosher trope or slasher trope, slosher trape.
Yeah, there could be people sloshed in the movie. I think
yeah.
somebody was drinking at one
I think
point.
I'm sloshed.
Hey!
Hey!
Well, Travis, I mean, you recommend this movie, so
I
did
did.
you see it
This
the
is my
year it came
choice.
out in the theater or no?
I didn't see it in theaters, so I didn't see this one for a little bit. I think it was like a full year before I saw it. It was like towards the end of the year that it came out, and I was really impressed by it. I thought it was one of the better movies of the year, and then I didn't watch it again for like a long time, like a few years, and I watched it again, kind of excitedly, and went, I thought like I really liked this movie. Maybe I kind of didn't like it as much as I thought I did, so I thought I'd give it a shot. Like that was kind of my thinking. But at one point, I loved it. Another time I watched it, I was like, I'm not so sure. So I thought, I've been meaning to revisit. I'll make you guys revisit it too.
There it is. I'll tell you what. This movie's got a lot going on. We're going to talk about that. Eric Branstrom, though, take us back in time. Do you remember the first time you saw this film?
Yeah, I actually saw. I went to a screening of Wingard's The Guest in 2014, and he appeared with Simon Barrett, his co-writer. And I love The Guest so much that I was like, "What else has this guy made?" Turns out he's been making movies since he was 19, like feature-length films. But I gobbled up the You're Next, and I was a huge fan of it. Of course, this is 20. Well, I think they made it in 2011 and it came out 2013.
Is that what it is? Yeah, because I feel
something like that.
There's like a
It was in the
disconnect.
circuits for like 2 years, just bouncing all over the circuits, gaining momentum. But yeah, by the time I
I had
saw
two
it,
different dates, too. I got confused.
That explains a lot.
it was right in that sweet spot when 80s nostalgia and the whole synthetic sound stuff was happening. So it was hitting me like a little pinball machine. So I was
it's
all
like
over it.
Synthwave score and mumblecore, right? So,
Synthcore, everything sitting on all cylinders, indie filmmakers, everything. So but I haven't seen it since.
I have definitely never saw this movie.
You don't say.
That's just something I would seek out. I mean, I could have run into it if somebody had shown it to me. Most likely when I was living with Aaron. I've told you guys before, he opened my eyes to some mumblecore, like you said, the Creeps series and all that stuff. So, but no, I'd never seen this film, and I was very excited to see it because I wanted to see what my response would be to it, which was what we will dive into further. But this movie, is well respected at IMDb. Do you guys know the score? Did anybody look it up?
I didn't look it up. I'm gonna guess 7.
Eric
Point.
Branstrom?
I took a look, Mike. So what do we got?
We got a 6-6.
Yeah, all right.
Dual sixes. Does that surprise you, Travis, at all?
No, I mean I would have guessed high 6s, early 7s. I mean, I usually under guess, so I'm trying to like guess up because I'm usually shooting way low, so I guess I overcompensated this time. But I mean that sounds about right.
Well, the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, the final authority on all films, 60% from the audience. 60%.
I thought we were the final authority on all films.
Right. Well, next to us. Yes, I forgot about us. 60% from the audience, so 6-0. That's still a good butter tub of popcorn. And a 79 from the critics. So the critics, I don't know. I actually don't have a lot of familiarity with how critics rate horror movies. Anybody care to maybe elaborate on that a little bit for those of us that are less? Is that something that critics will give high scores to horror films, or?
I mean, like typically horror, has not been given its proper due by reviewers, and just generally, it's like the redheaded stepchild of horror or of the genres. But I mean, I don't know. I think that probably, I'm guessing when it's a horror movie, they're going to send a specific person, like, oh, she likes those kind of movies. We'll send her, like something like that. Like she eats this shit up. We'll send her, rather than sending like the person, rather than sending their Michael.
Well, yeah. I honestly don't know. I don't have a lot of experience. I would assume that critics are critics, which means implied snobbery a little bit for me, but that doesn't mean that's the case. So I was just curious about that. I will say that Chris Nashawati, he writes for Entertainment Weekly. Chris Nashawati, given its title, you can be forgiven for assuming that Adam Wingard's home invasion thriller will be just another blood-soaked body count flick. But You're Next is better than that. A lot better.
Even though it is a blood-soaked body count kind of flick.
As he admit, yeah. Even though, yeah, that's a pretty good review actually. I can see what he's saying there. Who else we got here? No, I'm not seeing Dustin Thompson here on the. We got somebody from RogerEbert.com because Roger had died by the time this movie came out. Simon Abrams from RogerEbert.com says You're Next is a simultaneously nihilistic and grossly incompetent horror homage.
Okay, I agree with a couple adjectives. I disagree with a couple others.
What is it homage to? Because I don't know.
You know,
Oh,
I'm
Christ.
not. It's an homage to Jesus Christ, the Lord and
No,
Savior.
no. I'm seeing several here. Black Christmas, Prom Night, House on Sorority Row, Nightmare on Elm Street. A ton.
I know it was definitely part of like a whole spat of home invasion films. Thank you. Of home invasion films that were coming out at the time. Often that like would involve masks. Like I still haven't seen The Strangers or The Strangers 2. So this movie reminds me in a lot of ways. You're next of like Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, because I was terrified of zombie movies really until I saw Dawn of the Dead, and then I was like all about zombie movies after that. And home invasion is another thing that it's just like in my, like, I'm terrified. I can't like that's one of my biggest fears in life. So I don't really watch a lot of home invasion movies. There's not a lot that I've seen because like, if I know that's the plot, usually I kind of steer clear of them.
Really?
So yeah, but this movie I found to be like, when I watched it the first time, I'm like, well, that's home invasion in a fun way. That's different. So.
And how is that exactly?
I don't know.
I'm not there either.
The soundtrack, the stylistic shots. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, so what do you got going on here? You got some people, like, got a family getting together, right? It's got that guy, by the way, from fucking all Farrelly Brothers movie he's in every Farrelly Brothers movie.
Yeah,
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I knew that's what he's from. All the fucking Farrelly Brothers movies. That's right.
I saw him in Hall Pass a couple weeks ago, I think. At any rate, it seems like there's some tension though at the dinner table.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Really? Did you pick up on that, Mike? Yeah, some dysfunction there in the family.
But then, like, so I was actually kind of surprised how it got me, but it got me a little bit. I'm willing to admit this. When the guy got shot with the fucking arrow in the head, I was like, what? This is how I thought there was gonna be more banter and more like debate and argument. It was like, nope, that's it. We're getting right into this. So, because I was actually laughing at some of the the banter at the table.
Yeah, I mean, like the brothers on brothers shit. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But once it gets going again, like Dawn of the Dead, like it's like instant survival. Like you're going from like, hey, we got our petty squabbles and like we're just eating dinner and everything's fine, whatever. Like boom, instant survival mode. React appropriately or die.
I think you're right about that. Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no time to grieve or anything. It's just chaos ensues.
Well, if you're the mother. Yeah, if you're the mother, you can watch like one of your sons get murdered and then go to bed and like cry for a while, even though there's probably still murderers in your house.
She watches her daughter get murdered, and because one of her sons gets injured, but he's still alive, and then she watches her daughter get murdered, and then she's a fucking wreck. Which I can't blame her for. I mean, to watch one of your kids die, another one dying, that'd probably be psychologically break you.
Yeah. So where do we go with this movie? I don't know where to go. I'm lost here. I'll leave it to you guys to control the direction here. Because I mean, do we critically break this down? What do we look at here? The score, the terrifying music, the haunting images.
I mean, the same stuff we always do, I guess. Why would we do this any differently than anything else?
I don't know. I'm just confused. Because I don't know what to do.
How are you confused? It's a horror movie. I don't know what to do.
I mean, yeah. So, there's people with masks on and they're killing people. That's what I got out of it to a certain point.
How early do we want to get into spoiler territory? Because there's a huge difference between home invasion stories where the people that are invading know the people, or if it's a completely random act of violence. Yeah. And this is different.
Let's stop now real quickly and say, we're in the spoiler part of the episode. If you know, so
yeah. This is something we do weekly too.
You're
right.
Yeah. If you've not seen the movie, you probably should bow out by now. But go ahead, Eric. What was your point?
Well, you bring up The Strangers, which I really recommend you seeing. It's one of the best home invasion movies I've ever seen in my life. And the most terrifying part about that movie is there's no connection. They just show up and they just want to kill these people. Whereas in this movie, there's this familial thing and blah, blah, blah.
Either way is terrifying.
Yeah, The Purge as well came out in this kind of sweet spot of home invasion, and it's got its own epithet to it. If I'm using that properly, but
you're not.
I took a shot. But yeah, solid home invasion opening. I like the way they introduce the characters. the movie gets criticized for not developing everyone that well. There's some shaky acting, personally, if you ask me, but I think you get to know the character just as much as you need to know to see how they'll interact throughout the entire film.
I agree. I mean, I would say that let's start with the acting. I would say that when you look at this movie, in more ways than most movies, there's a serious imbalance between people that can act pretty damn well and people that really can't act that well. The mom is not a very good actor, for instance, right? Like she's just not. But like Joe Swanberg, who plays Drake, is so natural and believable. It's fucking ridiculous. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes.
I completely go the other way. I love Barbara Crampton, man. From Beyond, the Reanimator. Whereas
Yeah,
Joe
I like
Swanberg-
her.
dude. Oh man.
But you didn't think Joe Swanberg was good.
I can respect him. I used to live down the street from him, chatted him up a few times, but he seems serviceable at best. Just like, hey, dude, I need actors. Can you show up? Sure, whatever.
Well, that's one of the things I like about it. Is that he clearly did do that because half the people in the movie are like directors.
Yeah, all indie filmmakers.
Oh, really? See, I don't know any of that.
Swanberg, Ty West. I believe AJ Bowen's a director as well. He's definitely a writer, I believe. And I guess that's it. But that's still that's still a few.
I mistook Swanberg for the guy from the School Ties. I think I thought he looked like that guy. You know what I'm talking about? He's got that same face and head.
Yeah, that same face.
Yeah, the guy who fails French. The guy who fails French in School Ties. That kid. That's what he reminds me of.
You did this?
Yeah,
you did this.
I've seen you.
At any rate, I don't know a lot of these people, and that's actually impressive. I mean, maybe because they circle in scary and horror films. I don't know, but I didn't recognize Beyond the fucking guy. That's really the only guy I knew was the Farrelly brother dude. That was different for me. I guess.
I mean, it's not a huge cast, and then Nicholas Tucci is one of the R.I.P. last year. Nicholas Tucci.
Sure.
Yeah, he cancer got him. Unfortunately, he was our age, young dude.
Right.
He played Felix. Which my least favorite death is Felix. The blender on the head it's just I don't believe that's going to go through skull like that. You're not fooling me. That's dumb.
I don't believe someone who just was like raised as a survivalist is going to brutally kill someone in that fashion. I couldn't buy into that whole Sharni Vincent character, honestly.
Wait. So believability is in play here?
Okay, I knew you were going to say that, Mike.
I'm honestly asking this.
This is the whole, is it a good meal if it's a Big Mac as opposed to like filet mignon, or are you just going to enjoy it because for what it is?
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
This is not shot like First Reformed.
Yeah.
No, it's not. But like, I mean, it's a horror movie. Do you want your people to be killed with like authentic weapons? I mean, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, that is one thing I like about this movie is that like the later tetanus infection is always a risk factor. Like every weapon in this movie is so rusty.
No joke.
But I really do like that. Like it's like you're just like going around this old house trying to find like what the fuck can I kill someone with? Like I really like that aspect of this movie. For one. And I was thinking a lot about Erin, the character of Erin, and the fact that she was raised in a survivalist cult, right? What is this movie if Erin had not been raised in a survivalist cult? Well, it's not a fucking movie. It's a news story. It's just not it's not, there's nothing of interest there. I mean, it's just a bunch of people getting murdered. That's not a fucking movie.
Because they don't have the skills and tools. There's no
right.
Yeah.
If she would have absolutely been killed. First of all, that bit about trying to save her as a witness is obviously a lie. She would have been killed. Everybody would have been killed. End of the fucking movie. 20, 30 minutes in. That's not a movie. There has to be some sort of thing to make this different than what happened to the neighbors next door. There has to be something different that sets us apart from just being a regular home invasion movie. And it's the unknown factor of Erin's past that she had not told him, like, hey, turns out my father traumatized me with all this shit that's suddenly become really useful. As Crispin says at the end, how are we supposed to know you are really, really good at killing people?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, what's
funny.
up, Joey?
Yeah, exactly. But then he tries to twist it on her like there's something wrong with you that you're so good at killing people.
But hey, we're rich. Are you over it? Hug? Yeah, I can get that point. I like your point, Travis. I mean, like, she honestly reminds me, and this may be seriously hyperbolic, coming from me, that's saying a lot. A little bit like John Rambo. I mean, the character, because she has the ingenuity and the history. Wow. But Rambo likes killing because war is a part of him and he's an animal now. Whereas this woman, Erin, for me, the tone of the character, she came off a little bit too much like she was having fun killing people. It didn't work for me that well.
I kind of like that because I mean, like it starts off and she's not having fun, right? It starts off and she's like just strictly.
It doesn't look like she is.
No. From I would say for the most of the movie, it doesn't seem like she's having a good time. But you're right. Towards the end, it kind of seems like she is, but that's necessary, or else it's not going to make sense for her killing Crispin. Which that's a question right there. You're her. Do you kill Crispin or do you? Because he thinks she's gonna like pull a citizen's arrest on him and like, oh, I guess I'm going to jail, or we could be rich. These are the options. And she's like, nah, you're fucking dead, bro.
I mean, I would never kill a cuddly, bearded hipster professor, Travis. And I want you to know that personally. But she straight up murders him. I mean,
yeah, she does. She's not at risk. And by that point, she's a murderer, and she's fucked anyways, because the cop gets killed by the axe. And there's a movie, I'm not going to say the name of it, but there's a movie from the 80s that I really enjoyed where like at the end, the twist is that like, yeah, everyone gets away, but like they're perceived to be the killers because like the killer's dead. So like, who the fuck knows what happened? All we know is one person's left, and it makes sense. The cops would be like, well, clearly you're responsible for this, or you're somehow involved. And I feel like with Erin now, she's not wearing the masks and stuff, but like, I mean, her prints are going to be all over that axe that kills the cop, for instance. She very obviously killed Crispin. Like her life is fucked, even though she survives.
Good point.
I'm still kind of hung up on that blender thing now. No more you bring it up because it wouldn't move. Yeah, I mean, if it was already lodged in his fucking head,
it wouldn't move.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll let it go. I'll let it go.
I used to have a blender one time, and I got nothing. No slushy, no nothing.
Yeah, that was a flaw. That's a flaw. They fucked up there. They didn't need to do that. They got enough creative ways to kill people. They could have gone somewhere else.
Isn't that part of a horror movie though? Is a creative way to murder somebody? You know, and that's classic.
There is a lot of that. There is a lot of that.
I mean, even the knife. You know how hard it would be to stick that knife into that girl's head like that? That's hard to do. A skull is very thick.
Is it hard to do? How many times have you done it?
Well, I practiced. Yeah, I got, no, you're right. I don't know. You're right. But I feel like the skull stuff. I don't know. I never had my head bashed in. Oh, I had my head bashed in once, but it wasn't with a knife. So, at any rate, yeah. So the acting, I never even thought about the acting because to me, it's just once the murdering started, it was just chaos, and you're trying to set a tense mood regardless of the acting, in my opinion. So you have just intense and who's going on, who's who, what's going on here as that starts to unfold. I really never thought about the acting too much, to be honest with you.
Well, I got a question for you since you first time viewer. How soon were you aware that Z and Felix were in on it, and how soon were you aware that Crispin was in on it?
I had no idea Crispin was in on it.
Good.
I was clueless.
Good.
Totally threw me for a loop. I admit that. As far as the other guys, I don't even know which one's Z.
Z is the dark-haired girlfriend who gets the knife in the head. Yeah, the one who's like so obviously a villain. She like won't even shake mom's hand, and she shows up like, "Hi, I'm a villain. I'm here to be a villain."
You're dead, mom.
I guess that was more obvious.
That says it all.
Oh, you got me. Crispin, I thought was like. I felt bad for him even at the dinner table early on. And then I felt that this was a guy that was going to live through the whole story and be one of the good people. So that got me. I admit that. Yeah, that's good.
Mike, what was the fast forward meter on your next?
It actually wasn't too strong. I know I'm sure I did it once. I did it once.
You said you didn't do it with movies you hadn't seen. So you're a liar?
Yes. No, I'm not a liar. But I may have fast forwarded through like the beginning at the very beginning.
So you do fast forward through movies you haven't seen, and you are a liar.
I am a liar, and
we're all liars. I'm not going to hold you
fast forwarded through movies I've never seen before. It's been done, even if it's a slight press of the button. It's so much easier than back in the day when you had a remote.
Oh yeah, get up.
I'm watching on my computer. I can just tap my mouse pad. It's so easy. So I got a problem. I got to work.
You watch movies on your computer on your laptop? That's how you're watching movies for the pod?
I watch them on
it's
the big
projected.
TV on the wall here, but it's connected through the laptop. So, yeah.
I'm gonna say, wait till no one finds out you watched Tenet on your computer. You're fucked, bro.
Oh man,
He's
you
he's
know
mad
what?
we're watching at home.
So yeah, go ahead, Eric, please.
Okay, your setup is that I don't know how much I want to sit here and think about this, but your setup is that they hire these killers to only kill their parents for the inheritance, or is it always intended for them to kill their brothers too, like the whole family?
Yeah, they're killing everybody because they want to split the inheritance between them. So they want the sister dead, and they want the brother dead, and they want everybody else dead because they want to make it look like it's everybody's dying at once.
Okay, yeah, that's a cool plot. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
I
Kill the
gotta
people
say,
next door to make it look like it's just crazies.
yeah, but one thing that I mean, like,
how are they going to get away with it though?
Yeah, what was the plan? Was there any like fail safe here? Or,
I don't know. It seems like it's kind of like you're fucked either. I don't know how they're getting away with it. Even if they try to make it look like it was a bunch of crazies.
Yeah, I think the plan was like, just the three guys disappear into the night after killing everybody, and then the other two brothers pretend like they were hiding somehow or playing dead or something like that. Or maybe we're gonna get wounded, like a
random people not connected to the immediate family members means no motive, maybe.
Right. And maybe they're going to go and kill some more people too that night. Like they had the neighbors, like maybe they're just going to make it look more random.
Yeah, and I always wondered, like, aside from the fabulous, like, grammatical contraction of "you're next," why they write that. I mean, just because it'd be cool to see in a horror movie, but maybe that's like to make them seem like fucked up, like Satanists or something to steer them away from the family.
I have a theory. I have a theory. One is that you're right. It just looks cool. We don't get a opening title because we get it written in blood, and that's really cool. Sure. And like the masks, like they look cool, right? I mean, like the visibility of those things would fucking suck. Like these things are a hindrance.
Yeah, remember Halloween? You can't breathe. It's poking you in the eye and the plastic rips. You're fucked.
Yeah, you're putting yourself in further risk here. Once it gets really intense later on, they're just trying to fight Aaron. They still got the mask on. I'm like, what are you doing?
Come on.
But these guys are not just doing this for the money. These guys are full on sadists. They really are enjoying themselves. I mean, Z wanting to fuck next to the dead mother that's just part of it. She probably is the one that knows these guys in the first place, and probably help stick the idea in Felix's head is kind of the feeling I got. But Mike, you look very perplexed. What am I saying that's making you?
No, you keep talking. I'm just thinking about the movie. So.
Okay. Well, no, I'm done.
I'm thinking about the fucking in the dead bodies.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, that's gross. But yeah, so obviously they're like fucked up people, and they get off on scaring people. Like when they kill, I think her name is Kelly Swanberg's wife. Like that they chase her to the neighbors next door. Like they fuck with her and stuff. Like they're just playing this cat and mouse game kind of stuff. And that's one of the things I really liked about Wingard's direction. Who's good at filming giant things from below, as given evidence by Kong vs. Godzilla. But like when I think it's the first person that she kills, that the first of the three masked guys like gets in the building, and like he's like just shot so from below, everything freezes, the music is intense, he looks like a god about to kill her, right? Like that's what he's been doing. Like he's been moving around, killing people, taking life, acting like a god, and then she just flips the script on him and it's beating the shit out of him with a fucking meat tenderizer, and he's screaming like a baby, and then it's over, and like he's instantly emasculated because like for a moment it's like, yeah, I'm a fucking badass, and then he just like brought right down, and it's I don't know, it's really, really well done. So I think these guys are doing it for more than the money. They feel good about themselves as they do.
I think you described it accurately and clearly. Yes.
It's a lot of fun direction. One thing that soured on me a little bit is you get these movies that take place in essentially one location. I think of a movie like Knives Out, especially House Pickers, Knives Out, or even Clue. I mean, these movies are so geographically and spatially sound that I could probably draw you a nice quick map of the house in Knives Out. Wingard shoots literally every single frame in either a close-up or a medium, so I can never really tell where the fuck I am in this house. And I think that's a little bit of a problem for the film, to be honest with you.
And for the house to be as huge as it is, we really only see like the kitchen, the dining room, the lobby, the foyer, and like 1 or 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Kind of a misuse of such a proper, cool space.
Yeah.
But I wonder, maybe it was shot on a soundstage. I mean, it looks like it's mostly being shot in a real place, but maybe there's some soundstage action going on. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I never thought about any of that. That's interesting.
So you got to talk about good old Larry Fessenden, because
Of course,
the dude's a fucking great director. Wendigo is a fucking awesome indie horror movie that he directed.
Depraved is
I've heard some great things
outstanding.
about. But this is a champion for horror. In fact, he bankrolled Ty West's first film, The Roost, with Tom Noonan, which is actually a really cool, like, bat horror movie that he just like gave him the money and said, "Well, let me be involved in some capacity." He supports these guys. He appears in a couple of Swanberg's films, and he's just a champion for these indie filmmakers. And it's kind of an unsettling, if not very like disturbing and awkward, maybe even clunky opening, but you got to give it up for Lars on this one.
Yeah, I could do without not 1 but 2 characters that are college professors that are fucking their students. I could do without that.
And they got the fucking like tweed like jacket. Come on,
right?
You don't have to have the tweed jacket.
Right, but yeah, I agree. Larry Fessenden is like a horror genre Lucky Rabbit's foot. He just pops up in so much stuff. He's only directed a handful of films over the years, but he's produced a fucking ton, like almost 200 or something. I want to say, like, he's produced a ton, and he so often will just pop in like in a cameo appearance, and it's just like, here, let me just bless your movie real quick with my horror icon status. And he's also at the same time a horror icon that like not everybody knows. Like, I'm talking about him right now, and then I know you don't know who he is, Mike, and that's fine. I'm not trying to like be like, oh, I don't fucking know who he is, but that's who he is. Like, if you're like a big time horror nerd, you're gonna be like, there he is, the fucking rabbit's foot popping into this horror movie. But but he's also just some nobody to a lot of folk.
Exactly, he is. That's cool. Good for him. I'm looking at his
nice little
IMDb,
career.
a massive catalog. Yeah,
Oh my God,
endless.
And again, I'd strongly recommend Depraved. Wendigo is good, but it's old enough. It's from the 90s.
Wendigo or Wendigo?
Wendigo, like the Wendigo, like the animal.
The Winnebago, I don't know. It's
like
just
the spirit of the wilderness that rends the flesh of men.
Yes.
Sashi.
Wow, that's intense. Sounds really intense.
Nice. I fucked up epithet and you pulled that off.
So I recommended this film knowing that there wouldn't be a ton here, but I watched it, and in trying to pull out anything, for one, hey Mike, only white people in this movie.
Damn it.
Yeah,
I wanted to be the first one to say that, but I got sidetracked thinking about the movie more. Fuck. I definitely, at that dinner table, white people the movie came into my head in about 3 minutes or less.
But I do like that there's definitely there's a critique going on here about the wealthy, and it's not like, oh, the wealthy are terrible, or like the wealthy are just so awful, because like most of the people in this family are pretty normal people. And like, okay, so Swanberg's character Drake kind of sucks, like he's pretty superficial, but everybody else seems pretty fine. The father's fine, like they're fine, they're like whatever, they're just normal people. But then there's these 2 people in the family, in fact one of them who describes himself as a pacifist, who clearly is like got a degree in some sort of, like, I don't know if he's a history professor or what, but he's some sort of liberal arts guy. Like he's he's someone that you'd think of as someone that would probably not be a killer, right? Crispin. But for these guys, for him and for Crispin and Felix, like, too much is not enough for these guys. Nothing's ever going to be enough for these guys. The fact that they're going to get the fact that they're going to get their educations paid for, that's not enough. The fact that they're like living the life that they want to, I didn't get the fellowship, but like, your father is still going to help you. So they have like these cush privileged lives that they could be like their sister or their brother or their other brother Drake and just be like, yeah, this is cool. But instead they're like, no, I am so devoid of any morality that I'm going to have my parents killed on their anniversary of all days. And just so I could get my money a little bit sooner. It's grotesque.
I like that you brought up, because I actually was watching a documentary on the Menendez brothers a couple weeks ago. And I'm glad I did, because this reminded me of that, because we got these super affluent overprivileged kids, and they're that way because of their parents, and they detest their parents. These two were just smothered to death by them and felt completely trapped by them. If we maybe would have gotten a little more of that from these two parents, which I think are underwritten, that could have made a little bit better of a case for the plot of the film. But that's just an opinion.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys saw, but in the last week there was a similar case where these two brothers murdered their entire families down in Florida.
I missed that one.
Yeah, so it's like again, that was kind of not to. It's obviously a tragic and terrible thing, but home invasions do happen. People that was my point about Aaron. That like if this had just happened without one person that was able to like use her head and fight back, then there's just no point of this movie whatsoever.
Yeah. I think Eric's point about just because it's a scary movie or whatever, a horror film, doesn't mean that the characters have to be underwritten at all, right? I mean, I feel like this movie could have been maybe 15 minutes longer if it wanted to be. We could have got some more information, but I mean, it just kind of cut to the bullshit. It was not about
it's Grindhouse
at all.
Yeah, it's like yell at the screen, horror fun at the theater. So I can give it a pass for being a little bit dumb, but some of the technical stuff for me, the overly shaky cam, the spatial lunacy is can't work for me here.
There's a couple moments like where the camera is so shaky. I'm like, what are you doing right now? Are you on Adderall? Like, what's fucking happening?
I thought this was a scary movie trope. That's what I thought. I just assumed it was part of the routine.
And sometimes it is. Sometimes it is the shaky handheld. And that's something I genuinely like about this movie too, is that like this movie starts and less than 2 minutes in, we're getting ominous music and like exterior shots with a shaky handheld, like someone's watching you. It follows a lot of the tropes in ways that are kind of fun. Yeah.
I do appreciate that. I will give credit to the movie for that, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's cut the bullshit and get into it. This is not a 2-hour movie, and it never should be either. So
exactly. So a little underdevelopment in some of the characters I can forgive because ultimately this is just kind of a fun, let's watch people get killed kind of movie. And there isn't a huge social commentary going on or anything with it, but is it entertaining? I think so.
Anything else, guys? No, we all covered it. Okay, we got to get there. I tried to stretch it out as long as we could here.
I will one last thing. Ty West, who plays Tariq, the first person to get shot in the head, his lovely scarf.
Tariq.
The scarf. Fucking scarf is so funny to me, dude. Like, because he's a filmmaker.
He's an indie underground filmmaker wearing a scarf, and his name's Tariq. He's
really just coming in, like playing like a version of himself that he thinks is hilarious.
Oh shit, man!
Some underground filmmaker. It's so funny.
He brought.
Real quick. You guys are bringing these other stories from the world of this genre into this that I don't have. Like,
well, you should watch more movies.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just, but this is something for other people to know if
you've seen a bunch and then fast forward through it.
I do enjoy that. It's a lot of fun. So. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
Well, Ty West brought In the Valley of Violence, which I think is a fucking awesome Western to Chicago too. And he was a really cool guy. And somebody ended up asking him about You're Next. And he basically said the film was kind of like an experiment to see if they could get themselves like into like over 1,000 theaters, because they're all friends and they just like, I mean, I'm a little bit jaded about the festival circuit, but it's a big circle jerk. Like people would just like nominate themselves and then win. But
it's the same thing as the Oscars and shit. It's all connected in that world.
It's left a bad taste in my mouth. But my point here about this film, what stands out to me the most is that it's a great kind of lesson for burgeoning filmmakers that if you have even any amount of money, like anybody could make this movie if they have an old antique house, a decent sized budget, it won't cost much, and just some ambition and passion to make something that's, maybe not completely different, but fresh and original. And I was inspired as hell back in the day when I first saw it.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is that it's not super fresh and different, but it's just different enough. It's kind of hard to put your finger on what it is about this movie that's different.
It's like a new fast food restaurant that you've never heard of. You know what I mean?
Kind of, yeah, because it's the same old shit. It's home invasion with masks, and it's a slasher flick. It's a lot of the same old shit, but there's just something about it, and I think it's it's some of the comedy. It's the music, it's Aaron's character. I think it's the writing above all else. I think Simon Barrett, who also plays White Tiger, the shortest, the last of the three to die. I think that his script here is super basic and uncomplicated and solid. Like it's just a solid feature, and pretty consistent.
You guys should. You guys know so much about this stuff. You guys should do a cheap ass horror movie. You guys know all about this. I think if we get a house somewhere, we'll rent one and we'll make a movie. You guys could totally do it. Do as good as anybody else could.
Can I be in bed by like 8:30? Because
sure.
I got 3 jobs. I got 3 jobs for a podcast. I'm not doing shit.
Oh God, the excuses are piling up within 5 seconds or less. That's not surprising. All right, well, fuck it. I guess we're not getting our own scary movie from these two experts, but we will judge this movie righteously and with respect to the genre. I will go first, or should I go last?
You go last. You're probably more surprised. Here, I'll go first. I picked it. Right. So like I said, I was pretty impressed the first time I watched it, and then I was kind of like, I don't know, and then I watched it last night. I still like this movie. I think it holds up. You cannot expect it to change your life or anything. It's not My Octopus Teacher. It's not First Reformed, right? It's not like it's not high art. But goddamn, it's entertaining, and it's funny and kind of like, raw. Yeah, it holds up. If you're looking for a good horror movie and you've seen this before, it's worth reviewing. That's kind of the point, right, of our show in some ways. Is it worth the rewatch? And I would say, yeah, it's been a decade. Give it a rewatch. It's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm not going to stray far away from that at all. If you like old slasher movies and you've never kind of investigated the mumble gore scene, there's films like Baghead, House of the Devil, of course, Murder Party. And even Wingard's own Pop Skull is fucking awesome. And I think it's on YouTube. They're just kind of harmless, like drive-in, yell at the theater fluff. This film, especially from a filmmaker who had already about 10 under his belt, I gotta point my finger at him and shake it a little bit, because there's some technical stuff in here that he should have honed in on a little bit on. The shaky cam, some of the photography seems a little bit amateur, but it doesn't bother me. The humor in this, we didn't get to talk about that much. There's some genuinely funny situational moments, like when Swanberg's like bitching at his brother still after he's got like a screwdriver in his bag. Like, what kind of asshole does that? But yeah, this is fun. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. I think you'll enjoy yourself.
Well then, so it already holds up, right?
I think so.
Too.
Why not? Michael?
This is, everyone knows if you listen to the show or
not your genre.
Not my genre. Yes, I don't really focus on it. But if a movie's worth the time, then I'll give it its fair due. I'm not somebody who thinks I'm better than any other film or a genre in particular. I just prefer to spend my time in comedies, and for some reason, I'm just a morose and melancholy kind of guy. I love dramas, and I always will. So that's going to be a big part of my life. I'm trying to feel something. I'm dead inside, so I'm trying to feel something through a movie. Please.
I think that's why we like horror so much.
That's why. That's what got me out of a deep, dark depression, watching a shitload of horror movies.
Right.
Wow.
It can help you, Mike. Totally. It can help.
Yeah, maybe I never saw it like that. But as far as this film goes, it's quick and to the point. It doesn't fuck around. I do appreciate that a lot. Who cares if I don't need to know the people in my movies? I want to see a performance that gives me a response. I'm looking to get engaged in some way, and this movie got me engaged. I was confused a bit. I didn't really know what was going on at times, so they got me there. There was a few laughs, as Eric said, so I laughed a bit. That's cool too. I like to laugh. I like to be confused because I don't want to know. I love when I don't know what's coming next. That's a lot of fun in a movie. So I think this movie holds up. I don't care about the technical aspects of it. I really don't. I don't fucking care about, the shots and all that stuff. I mean, I'll save my technical aspects of a movie for Scorsese and, the big auteurs and all that bullshit. In the end, it's a pretty fun movie, and it doesn't fuck around. I appreciate its expediency and its efficiency. So all right. You got me. Well done.
Yeah, there it is.
I got Mike on a horror movie. I feel really proud of myself.
That is a huge accomplishment. Yep. There you go.
What was the other one we did at Halloween?
We did the Crow, which is not a horror
In the
movie.
Mouth of Madness.
We've done In the Mouth of Madness is really the only other horror, like true horror movie I think we've done.
I don't even see it like that either. I don't really see it as a horror movie. More than like I see it more of as a suspense movie. So that was just really like
What you're
to
next?
me-
You mean is a suspense movie?
No,
you mean?
In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was to me. This is like really the first authentic kind of horror movie we've done.
Yeah, it's very much a
in my
straightforward
opinion.
horror movie, which is partly
Yeah,
why
in
I
terms of
enjoyed it.
straightforward. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it could happen. Good job, everybody who made this movie. You
Yeah,
guys be
we
proud of
did.
yourself. Woohoo! Oh, I hit the wrong button. Sorry about that. Okay, well there it is. It's in the can. Another
All right.
episode of the Cinema 9 podcast. A little shorter than other ones, but sometimes there's only so much
I don't
ground you can
think
cover.
much.
But I think an hour and 15 minutes is still a lot of fun, and we had a good
Brisk,
time.
baby.
Brisk, that's brisk. Next week, we're going to do a movie by Eric Brandstrom. So, Eric, we turn it over to you. I know you've had the flu, so maybe you haven't had time to think about this.
I woke up in a cold sweat last night, and it just popped into my brain, and I had to scribble it down like fucking Edgar Allan Poe in one of his nightly rampages. So we're gonna go back to '96, and
Oh, boy,
this was
back to the 90s.
yeah, back to the '90s, Mike. Your
Been
favorite
a while.
man. I
I
know
love
Mike's
the
hoping
90s.
for something from like 2004, his favorite
I
year
love
of
the
film
90s.
ever.
I know I rip on the 90s on this show, but I love the 90s. Come on. Who am I
So
kidding?
I've been thinking about this one lately, and it's been over 20, probably 24 years since I've seen it. And a lot of people used to talk about it back in the day. I haven't heard one person say anything about it since right around the time it came out. And it's one of these movies about youth culture in the 90s. It's bookended by more popular films like Clueless and Mallrats and Empire Records. And I think it's going to be interesting to see if it is up to snuff and if it ever got the credit it may have deserved. And we haven't had a chance to talk about Richard Linklater too much, but I think this is a good opportunity. 1996 is Suburbia. You got Eric Bogosian
I
in the
cannot
screenplay,
believe that's exactly
and
what I was thinking of.
I've
I can't
never-
believe you chose this
yeah,
movie.
It's been a long time.
Me
Well,
and Travis
Parker
joke about
Posey,
this movie all the time, but I
Steve
can't.
Zahn, Nikki
AJ
Cat.
AJ
You've
Nader,
never heard
Yep.
me and Travis talk about this?
No.
You've not been paying attention.
Nikki
Right.
Cat, fucking
Yeah,
Nikki
Nikki
Cat. one of his
Cat.
We have
better roles.
literally,
Yep.
I just want to make this clear. We've literally made references to this movie on this pod at least one time.
We haven't.
I
I think.
told you,
I
my
think one
short-term
time.
memory's
But no,
fucked.
I think you're right though, Eric. This movie, for as much as we watched the fuck out of it in that time, we've not. I mean, I've barely thought about it since. I'm excited. I'm excited to revisit. I think this is a great call.
I've
There it
watched
is,
it the
Mike.
last year.
Yeah, I knew I could surprise
Of
you.
course you
Michael.
did.
So.
Stop rewatching so many movies.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him forever though, but it was right around the time after we started. I actually never
I'm just
thought that
kidding.
this movie would get picked. I'm really surprised.
I am
this-
too. It's a little
That's
obscure.
great.
That's
That's a
Very
good choice,
obscure.
Eric. I respect it. I'm shocked. I just thought there's so much for us to cover, and
Yeah. Hey.
For a second, I was terrified you meant the other Suburbia. I'm like, oh, I never saw that. The one for the 80s.
yeah,
No.
yeah. This is the one with
I
a
wouldn't do that,
capital U in it, I think.
There it is.
In the middle.
Suburbia to differentiate.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. Okay, cool. Wow. Well, the good news, I have a copy of this, so I don't have to go dig for it. I don't know if it's hard to find or not. It seems like it would be a little harder to find, but who knows? I hope it's not.
Is it a VHS
Next.
copy that you have?
Yeah, I'll go get my box copy over here. So, Blockbuster went out of business a couple weeks ago. All right, next week we're going to do Suburbia. Eric Brandstrom has stunned us. We're still absorbing the reality of this selection. I
Have we
am
done
impressed.
Linklater? I don't
No.
think we've done
No.
Linklater. Good.
No. Yeah, I didn't want to go with Days of Confused or the before films, but yeah.
I was thinking you might go Twister. That's what I thought you
I'm
might.
worried because I saw the trailer and there's some cringe in the trailer, so we're gonna see what happens.
You got Giovanni Ribisi, Nicky Cat. You got the guy from Office Space.
AJ Nadeau. I already said
Thank
that.
you. Oh, you did say his
Thank
name.
you.
Thank you. Okay.
Parker Posey, baby.
And of course.
Threw it all away, huh?
Am I
all the
mixing
way.
this up with Empire Records, or is Debbie Mazar in this movie?
That's
I don't think she's in Empire Records. What the fuck you
She's
talking
definitely in
about?
Empire
I don't think-
Records.
I don't think
Rex
she's in the
Manning?
movie.
She plays Rex Manning's manager. She feels
Oh,
bad
that's
about it,
not-
and then she goes out
I-
with what's his face?
I'm not sure
She's the
that's,
short-haired girl, Debbie Mazar. We all know
Debbie
Debbie
I don't
Mazar.
think
Mazar.
that's Debbie Mazar. Yeah.
Debbie Mazar has
What?
never got short hair.
I'm not ending the show until I verify this now because I know exactly
I
what I'm
don't think
talking
so,
about
Mike.
here. Do
I
not
know Debbie
disrespect
Mazar, man.
the legacy
How
of
could
Debbie Mazar.
I would never. Those are the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen on a woman in
Yeah,
film.
well then how could you? You know Empire Records. You've talked about it on the
Puts-
show.
Puts Tilly, what's in it? Meg Tilly the Shame. Puts
Oh.
Meg Tilly the Shame.
Meg Tilly
Those
I don't think
guys.
it's her though.
Oh wow.
Michael, can you confirm?
Nope, there it is. Boom. Empire Records. She played
Sure.
Jane. Thank
With
you.
short hair.
Fine.
That's
All
right.
right.
I just want to rectify. I want to rectify this. All right. So next week, Suburbia, Cinema9Pod, protonmail.com, Cinema9Pod, all your favorite wonderful social media platforms. We're there to waste time with you every day, anytime. We're open. None of our sites are ever closed. 24 hours, 7 days a week. They are wide open. So if you're a night owl, yeah, pop on, send us a message, and we'll catch you next week on the show. Thank you so much for your time. Oh yeah, by the way, a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts would always be
That would be
a
so
nice
awesome.
little gift. You know, you don't have to buy us anything. It doesn't cost you a thing. All you takes 3 minutes. So if you feel so inclined, we'd really appreciate it. All right, is that it?
Yeah, rest in peace, Bernie Madoff too. We did do the tribute.
We've become the show that laughs about the recently dead. This is like 3 or 4 episodes in a row.
Yeah,
Hey,
no one's
welcome
gonna
to the podcast where we laugh at the recently dead.
no one's gonna feel bad about this one though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we laugh all day.
Yeah.
Bernie Madoff, fuck off and die in hell. Thank you very
Well
much.
done, man.
All right, we'll catch you guys
Bernie.
next week.